Does a child in your life seek out firm hugs or use a weighted blanket to feel secure? For many neurodivergent kids, this need for deep pressure is actually a love language. Today, we'll look at how deep pressure helps kids feel safe and connected, along with tips for honoring this love language. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more insights on building supportive connections with kids. And let me pause here to again remind you that neurotypical is overrated. This is not just only neurodivergent kids and also neurotypical, perfect neurotypicality. That's right, I made that up. Perfect neurotypicality does not exist. We are all just more or less neurodivergent. So this may be a child in your life, even if they haven't been diagnosed as neurodivergent in some way. The origin of the name of this deep pressure love language is really inspired by, quite literally, deep pressure therapy, which uses firm and comforting touch to create a sense of security and calm. Its traditional counterpart is physical touch, but this one's a little bit different. A lot of times people who experience love through deep pressure do not enjoy as much the traditional signs of affection. Things like just hand holding, arm around you, gentle hugs, kisses. That ain't their jam. They want this deep pressure. They want to squeeze. They want that weighted blanket on them. They want that deep pressure. So it's a physical touch counterpart. Deep pressure can offer comfort, and it can also offer an opportunity for grounding. And there's many different examples of this. It could be firm hugs and, like the squeeze hugs, the ones that feel really strong and good. It doesn't mean that this is not necessarily where you're squeezing a child so much that you're wanting to make them laugh, but it's that squeeze of just like, yes, I'm here for you. Like the real hug. You know what I'm talking about, the real hugs. It could be a pat, and I don't mean like a slap on the back, but like a pat where it's like you put the pat and it stays there and there's a push to it and the child can feel that pat. Or maybe it's the use of weighted blankets, and it helps children feel safe and it helps them feel connection. If you have not yet known, I have a book called Putting the Pieces Together, Understanding and Supporting Children with Autism Spectrum Disorder. And in that book, I talk about how the main difficulty in autism spectrum disorder is that all the pieces of the brain are firing, but they just don't cooperate. They don't collaborate with each other. So this deep pressure really helps those pieces have to work together. It's like, I'm going to force you to work together. It's not just, oh yeah, here's the little hug where it's just like this. It's like, no, I am here. I'm here. You feel me? I'm here. It's these deep hugs. And by experiencing these secure physical sensations, children can feel grounded and reassured, especially during times of stress. When kids feel stress, or when kids feel anxious, or when kids feel dysregulated in some way, it can feel like they are exploding out of themselves. This deep pressure helps bring them back into themselves and say, I am right here with you. I got you. And it helps them really understand the boundaries of their own bodies and brings them back into where they are, and can really help them ground and help them to feel calm and reassured when they're feeling very out of control. This can be expressed in a lot of different ways. It might be that kids seek a firm hug from a caregiver or from a family member. They might use a weighted blanket to feel more grounded. They might just request a back rub or shoulder squeezes to reduce stress. It might be that they are sitting close to or leaning against a trusted adult and, like kind of pushing on them more. It might be that they're curling up with some heavy, soft pillows or using what's called a compression vest where it actually pushes. It might be that they are wanting to hold hands, but really hold hands, like there's the squeeze hold and not trying to crush the hand, but just wanting to really feel that hand holding. Or it might be that they have a friend or a parent press on their hands, or I've even seen kids that put their hands down on a table and they want somebody to press on it. And again, not trying to break their hands, but just like pushing on them and showing them, I am here. It might be that they just love being wrapped up in a blanket burrito style. It might be that they want to rest under heavy pillows or blankets while they're watching TV or while they're reading. Or it might be that they are squeezing a stress ball, that's pressure, or a toy that provides what we call tactile resistance. So it's not just one that gives right away, but it really is a squeeze. In little kids, younger children, you might see this if a child just loves to squeeze Play-Doh and stress balls and all that, just something that's going to give a little bit of a pushback where you really do have to squeeze. You have to apply deep pressure to feel it. If you have a child who gives or receives love through deep pressure, there are some things that you can do. One thing is to offer alternatives. For instance, as a therapist, there are limits to the physical touch that I can give to a child for lots of different reasons, lots of very appropriate, important reasons. I do not just walk up and squeeze a child and give them a deep pressure hug, even if that is the way that that child receives love. But there are some things I can do. I have things in my office that are weighted, so I can say, well, I can give you a side hug, so I can do that, and I can give a squeeze on the side hug. That's an alternative. Or I can place something on your lap that presses down. I have some things that a child can actually lay down, and it presses on their whole body. There's lots of different things that are alternatives. That is important for situations where that physical touch may not be fully appropriate. It's also important because not all children who want deep pressure want a deep pressure hug. Sometimes they just like that press. So it could be that they don't want the squeeze hug, but they would love a weighted blanket, or they would love something that goes on them. I have a service dog who works with me, and one thing that he is trained in is deep pressure for me. Now, I don't have him do that to children. He's 130 pounds. I don't want him to crush a child, but he does deep pressure for me. So that is even an alternative, where it could be that you have a pet and the child doesn't want a hug, but they would love for the pet to sit in their lap. There are also weighted stuffed animals that you can place on children that helps them feel that deep pressure without necessarily requiring the physical touch of someone else. Another thing to take into consideration is sensory sensitivity. Some people have preferences on when they want this pressure. So it could be that they love it when they're anxious, or it could be that they do not want it at all when they're anxious. Love it when they're stressed, do not want it at all when they're stressed. Or it could be that they like different things in different situations. That is all about forming that relationship with that person and asking them what could be most helpful. But understand that sensory sensitivity is very important. So you don't want to just throw something slimy and heavy on someone's lap if they are averse to things that are slimy. And then also try to link it to them being able to self-regulate. This is a way that children can show love. This deep pressure is a way that they can show love. It's also a way that they can receive love. So with this self-regulation piece, it could be that you train them or help them learn to ask for this deep pressure. So it could be that they come over and they say, I really want a squeeze hug right now. And so you can give them the squeeze hug, and then you can link it to the self-regulation where it's like, so you were feeling anxious and you wanted your squeeze hug. Well, that tells the child that when they're anxious, they can ask for that squeeze hug and that'll help. But over time, they'll start to see like, oh, I don't need the squeeze hug every time just because I'm anxious, but maybe I just want to be close to this person. And it helps them learn how to self-regulate as well. So try to link it to self-regulation, not just always needing someone else to help in those instances. And then over time, they'll be able to do it more and more and more on their own. If you have a deep pressure child who loves either giving or receiving love through deep pressure, make sure you like and subscribe so that you don't miss out on insights like this and help other people find this content.